Hi everyone. Today we're going to continue our investigations on living organisms. Before we get started, let's do a quick demonstration. Here I have 2 cups of water. What I'm going to add is 2 spoonfuls of sand to each cup. The first cup is going to get 2 spoonfuls of white sand. And the second cup is going to get 2 spoons of blue sand. Let's take a closer look. Looking at my 2 cups, I'm going to use a spoon and stir my first cup, stir in the sand in my first cup. Then I'm going to do the same in the second. Already we notice a difference. The second one doesn't seem to be stirring as easily as the first. I'm going to try to scoop out some of the first white sand, and feels like wet sand. Let's do the same with the second cup. Wow, what do you notice here? My blue sand is not wet at all. It is completely dry. Look at that. Oh, how cool is that? This is regular white sand that you may have seen at the beach or the playground. This is not like any sand that you've seen before. This is actually a special type of sand. This sand is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic sand means that it is water fearing. Hydro means water. Phobic means fearing. Here I have a cup of water. And to that water, I'm going to add a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon. Now I'm just going to take my finger, press it down into the water, bring it back out, and my finger is all dry. Cinnamon also has hydrophobic properties. Try it again, bring it out, coated my finger, and my finger did not get wet. You can try what we just did with other items from your kitchen. You can try pepper, cocoa powder, salt. See which one of those are hydrophobic, or are they? Next, what I want to show you is I have 2 pieces of yellow construction paper. And I have regular water that I've just colored with blue food coloring to make it easier to see. Here I have 2 pieces of yellow construction paper, and I'm going to add blue food colored water to each of them, and let's observe what happens. When I add water to the first paper, looks like the water is just sitting there. It's kind of stuck, it's rolling around, but it's making the paper wet, as you can see, leaving marks and just staying on the paper. Let's try the same thing on the second paper. Whoa, that's not the same. Look at these water beads. And the water beads look like they are rolling off. They are not staying on the paper like the first one. And they rolled right off. Let's try that again. Whoa, look at that. How cool. Looks like they're ice skating, right? water beads just hanging on the paper. And look at this one. Does not form any water beads. Why is that happening? 2 pieces of paper, put water on them, and they behaved completely differently. Cool experiment, but I want to know why. Why is this happening? Let's keep investigating. Well, that was on paper. Now let's try 2 different surfaces. That was on paper. Now let's try a different surface. I have 2 glass slides, and I'm going to try the same thing. Same blue food colored water. Going to place a few drops on my first slide. Looks like the water is just staying on, sticking to the slide. What about the second one? Wow, it rolls right off. I can't even keep it on. This glass slide cannot even hold the water on it. It rolls right off and it sticks to the cardboard that's below it. Let's move it over. Try it again. Other side of the slide. Oh, look, I finally got it to stay on, but it's forming these beads. It looks very different than next door. Even moving the sides did not help. There is no way I can get these water beads to stay on my slide. I was having so much fun adding water to different surfaces. I tried paper, I tried glass. I thought, since this is our life science unit, why don't I test out plants and their leaves? I went outside in my backyard and I was able to get 4 different leaves from 4 different plants. And what I want to do is test and see how water behaves on my leaves. Could my leaves be hydrophilic? Could my leaves be hydrophobic? Let's test and find out. Here I have 4 different leaves. They're all different shapes, different sizes, even different shades of green. But what I'm going to do is again take my blue food colored water and add it to my leaves and see how it behaves. Wow, look at that. That is so cool. Let me try my second leaf. Well, that's different. It's not what I expected. Look at that. These 2 leaves are behaving so differently. One is already hydrophobic, I can tell, and this one is hydrophilic. The water is sticking. What about this one? I'll add a little bit more. And it is not, it's rolling right off. I wonder what's gonna happen with my 3rd and 4th leaf. Going to add 1 drop here. Oh, fell right off. Again, I can't even keep it on. Let's try the 4th and final leaf. How pretty is that? This one's big enough that I can hold, and you can see that the water is rolling all over the place. It is not sticking to the leaf. Ah, fell off and sticking to my fingers, but not to the leaf. Let's bring this up close and look at it again. See if I can roll it right off. Yep. A little bit is stuck in the corner up here. And a few here, it looks like the leaf was damaged a little bit, but in this area, there is nothing. It is completely dry. Now you must be thinking, what in the world is going on? How can leaves be hydrophilic and hydrophobic? Well, we thought all plants love water and they all need water. Well, they do, but at their roots. But their leaves on the outside, on the surface, behave differently. Some love water on their leaf and some repel it. They actually are hydrophobic. They don't let the water stay on. So why is that? What's going on? The leaf is where photosynthesis occurs. The leaf of a plant is where it takes in the sunlight, uses the sunlight to make food for the plant. That means the leaf needs to be very, very clean. And how does the leaf get clean? Well, rain, water. Water falls and cleans the leaves. But what happens when a plant is in an area where it doesn't get a lot of water? It wants to conserve that one drop. You saw the beads form on the leaf, and they didn't stick on, but they rolled right off. Here's a model I like to use that helps me understand how hydrophobic plants use the limited water they have to clean the surface of their leaves. Well, imagine if water falls onto this leaf. And this is a hydrophobic plant that doesn't get a lot of water. Well, the water won't stick, but what is it going to do? It's going to fall off and fall onto this leaf, and then onto the next, and onto the next, and so forth. One drop of water has now cleaned many, many, many different leaves. What would happen if this plant were hydrophilic and it loved the water? Well, if the water fell on this leaf, it would just stay here and it wouldn't go on and clean the rest of the leaves. And that works perfectly fine if there's plenty of water. But in areas where there isn't plenty of water, the leaves have adapted and they have changed the way they behave to use the limited resources they have. It's amazing, right? Now, what I want you to do is, if you have a pipette at home or even a spray bottle, if you have plants in your home, take that spray bottle and start spraying and see what happens to those leaves. If you have access to a park or a backyard with many more plants or trees, try those too. And see which plants are hydrophobic and which ones are hydrophilic. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how did my glass slide and my paper, how were they hydrophobic? Well, what I didn't tell you is that I sprayed them with a coat, something called Never Wet, to make them hydrophobic. Scientists, we love to copy nature. Scientists have figured out that leaves are hydrophobic and hydrophilic, and they've thought, well, what if we want to make certain surfaces hydrophobic too? And they've engineered products that you can actually spray onto surfaces to make them hydrophobic. What are some things you would want to be hydrophobic? Maybe your cell phone, maybe your iPad, maybe our lab sheets, our homework. What about our shoes? That would be great if they were hydrophobic. They'd never get wet. What about your roof, the roof of your home? Imagine if that was hydrophobic. We'd never have leaks again when it was raining. Science is so cool. Go ahead and test out the leaves in your area and think, what would you want hydrophobic? Good luck and have fun.